Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm Sergeant Sean Bertha of the Worcester Police Department, and we're here today to talk about the incident at 1112 Halmstad Street, Apartment 1, happened last night. So at about 11:45 p.m. last night, Worcester Police and Fire received a call, reported house fire in progress. We responded to 12 Halmstad, Apartment 1. The fire department put out a small fire in the living room area. After the fire was put out, it was immediately apparent that there was a male, a 54-year-old resident of the address who was deceased. He had a wound on his head, and his lower half of his body was badly burned. So paramedics pronounced him dead at the scene, and we're waiting to hear back from the medical examiner's office as to whether it was a homicide and what the cause of death was. As of right now, it's classified as a suspicious death, not a homicide yet. So about the same time, a few minutes later, we received a call from a passerby for a suspicious person in Greenwood Street, which is right down the road from Halmstad. Someone who appeared to be intoxicated and was stumbling in and out of traffic, behaving strangely. So because of the proximity to the Halmstad Street death, several officers checked the area for that male. About 45 minutes later, in front of 15 Blackstone River Road, officers located the male, Brian Flores, a 24-year-old Worcester man, who matched the description given by the witness who called. And Mr. Flores behaved erratically with the officers, and he refused to take his hands out of his pockets. He appeared to be intoxicated, and he also appeared to be trying to hide something around his waistband. So officers performed a pat frisk, and they removed a bag of what appeared to be some kind of snack food from his waist. Also found right next to him on the ground a torch-style lighter. It was clean, and it appeared to have just been placed on the ground shortly before the police arrival. So because of his strange behavior, police suspected that the items were stolen. They went right down the road to 7-Eleven, which is very close to 15 Blackstone River Road, and talked to the clerk there, who confirmed that several items had been stolen from 7-Eleven, including a box of these lighters. So the clerk identified Mr. Flores, who was placed under arrest for shoplifting. Now, investigators have since determined that Mr. Flores did know the deceased person at 12 Halmstad. We're not going to say more than that, but they did know each other. He's not charged with anything in relation to that incident at this time. Now, also, when Mr. Flores was first detained, a call came in at 47 Blackstone River Road for a fire in the rear. The resident said that a male had been knocking on his door and jiggling his door handle. Shortly afterward, the resident looked out and found that his trailer in the rear of his property was on fire. The fire department responded, put that out. The fire department is going to be investigating the cause and origin of both the Halmstad Street fire and the fire in the rear of 47 Blackstone River Road. So the investigation is obviously in very early stages. We're waiting on the report from the medical examiner to determine the cause of death for the victim, and also whether it was a homicide or not. And we're waiting on the reports from the fire department to determine the cause and origin of the fire. With that being said, I'll open it up to questions, with the understanding that there's a lot we don't know and a lot we can't put out at this time.
Is Mr. Flores a person of interest with Halmstad?
Because they know each other, we're looking at him. We're looking at everybody who has any connection to the male.
Did he make any statements indicating that he was in that area within the 30 minutes prior to you guys picking him up?
When we picked him up, he was in the area. It was close. I can't say about what he told us as part of the investigation.
Did he at any point live at the 12 Halmstad residence?
We don't have any evidence to do with it.
Was the victim known to police at all?
We had dealt with him before.
The victim?
Yes.
And Mr. Flores and the victim, to what extent can you say their relationship is?
We're still looking into that. I can't say the extent of the relationship. I can't say if there was a relationship. They knew each other. And again, he's not charged at all in relation to that incident.
And so he's already been released on the shoplifting charge?
Yes, he's just charged with shoplifting this time.
Have you questioned him at all in this case?
Anytime we bring somebody in and we're interested in them, we'll always talk to them.
Just so I'm clear, he has been released?
Yes.
And at this point, would you characterize this as a possible homicide or a suspected homicide?
I would call it a suspicious death right now. And we'll know more when the report comes back from the ME. It'll either be a homicide or not.
You anticipate that report back soon, anytime soon, Sergeant?
It typically takes a couple days. So the next couple days I expect to have it back.
There was a head wound? Is that?
Yes, he had some kind of wound to his head and his lower body was badly burned.
Anything else about that head wound? Could he have fallen and done it? Did it appear that perhaps a blunt object, it was caused by an object at this point?
It was, yeah, I don't want to speculate right now as to the cause, but again, once the ME does their autopsy, we will know in much more detail.
Sean, was it the victim who had been set on fire? Was it the surroundings who had been, I mean, did you think someone lit the body on fire?
The fire was in a fairly contained small area around him. It didn't spread to the other apartments. It was a pretty small area. So it certainly was a suspicious fire. But again, the fire department is looking into the cause and origin. Until they come out with that report, we can't say anything definitive about it.
But the body was on fire when the firefighters walked in.
There was a fire in the area. I don't know if the body itself was on fire. They put out the fire quickly.
Okay.
And it was immediately apparent that the male was deceased. He was pronounced on scene by paramedics.
Did anybody else live in the apartment?
I'm not sure who else he lived with. I think it was just him though.
Sean, can you talk a little bit about this teenager who was shot?
Yes, on Burncoat Street early this morning, I believe around 3 in the morning, there was a 14-year-old who suffered a gunshot wound to the area of his ankle, on his left leg.
What were the circumstances?
We were dispatched to it and we responded. We just saw the one male there. There was no crowd or anything. He said that a car had driven by and someone had shot him, fired one round at him and hit him in the ankle.
And do you know that to be true at this point?
It's under investigation.
Okay, what's his background, this 14-year-old?
He is just here for the summer. He lives in Florida. So there are no enemies or anything that we know of that he has.
Staying with family, friends?
Yes.
Was he known to you before this?
No.
Was there a gun or anything recovered on the scene?
No, nothing recovered on the scene.
So you said the suspect was found with some injuries in the ankle? Is that?
No, this was not the suspect. This was the male, the victim. The 14-year-old
Okay.
victim on Burncoat Street had a gunshot wound to the area of his ankle.
Okay.
And Sean, the Flores did have some physical injuries, abrasions on his hands and a cut over his right eye, correct? Indicated it was, could it possibly, did it look like he had been in a fight?
He looked a little rough. We don't know if that was caused by a fight right before or not, but it's possible. Anybody else have any other questions?
Is there any chance this is a suicide? I know that you had been at that residence before for something similar.
Again, I don't want to speculate until we have the facts. Once we do, we'll come out with something else. We'll keep you updated.
And following up what Reed asked, is the fact that he had these scrapes on his hands and his face indicate that, establish more of a possible link to you to the murder victim?
Again, we can't say that definitively. It's possible. It's possible that it was something completely unrelated. Could be either.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.